Well, good morning, everybody. I'm Coach Tom. Welcome to my channel, Creating Your New Reality. I'm a self-actualization coach. What that means is that I help people create and express their true selves in the areas of their careers, relationships, and personal development. Are you ready today? Let's go. Now, I get emails about what I mean sometimes. They'd like me to go a little bit deeper on a concept. So today I'm going to do that again in the areas of self-talk and self-belief. Self-belief is maybe a bit more of an important topic because the self-talk is very foundational. We covered a lot of that. The outcome of that self-talk is that self-belief, and that self-belief creates these things called states that we are in. And these states are what we operate in as we go through. So just work with me here for a second. I'll explain everything. Due to the high level of negativity that I had going on in my life when I was younger, I had a lot of very negative self-talk, as I've alluded to. I listened to a lot of negative music. I reinforced so many things that were not healthy, nor were they helpful. So as a state then, the self-talk created a state of belief about myself. And why this is important is everything happens based on your belief system. I should say everything happens or does not happen based on your belief system, whether it's a belief system about the universe or a belief system about yourself. Remember, the universe never shows you what it's capable of doing. It only shows you what you are capable of believing. So with all this negativity, I had several states growing up, probably a lot more than I'd like to admit, and they weren't good. I had one that was, I had a state of I was not very intelligent because of how I felt about myself. I did not try very hard in school. We're talking a 1.9 grade point average throughout most of my career. I graduated because the teachers liked me and I was nice. And I couldn't even talk then as good as I do now. I was very quiet. I was the guy at the back of the room. I might as well have just been a houseplant. That was how that went. I had a state that I was shy because I was quiet, very introverted, very inhibited. Everybody said, "Oh, Tom, well, you're really shy." Okay, so they're all more in authority than I am. They can pass judgment. I guess I'm shy. So again, lost a lot of years believing that, and I didn't make friends. I didn't talk to girls. They didn't talk to me. All these things. So I was already shy. I was not very intelligent, and I also had a belief about myself because I was very skinny growing up that I was weak, and I was also lazy. That was another thing that was put on me by my parents, only because I was so demoralized about life, I didn't know what to do. I didn't know where to go, didn't know how to create opportunities. Certainly they weren't knocking on my door, and I didn't have the kind of parents that went ahead and just said, "Hey, Junior, let's go do this." I didn't have that kind of upbringing as a lot of you probably have. And if you did, that's a really good thing. We're going to talk about that. So I'm not laying out the sad tale of woe because I want sympathy. I want pity. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to just share with you guys that I had this negative self-talk. I had these states being that I was not lovable because of all these things. I was not lovable, totally believe that about myself, that I was a rebel, that I was different. And I'll tell you what that made me do is really thrive on conflict. Boy, I sure thought, boy, everyone was out to get me, being chased through the halls, being bullied. I was calling more of that on myself. I'm just like, wow, when is it ever going to stop? Well, it would have stopped a lot sooner had I changed my view about myself, and then I could have. But again, that's why we're talking about this, because one of the problems is we think that we're different, unique, and special. And in a romper room kind of a way, yeah, we are unique and special. But what it really is that we're all connected through this consciousness. So we all have this connection that we all go through the same things. We all have the same problems. We all sometimes come to these solutions a bit different. Sometimes we never come to them at all. And that's a product of sometimes our upbringing, our level of enlightenment, what happens to us. So I'm going to share something with you guys. So I had these states that I was different, I was a rebel, I wasn't lovable. That was how I operated. Every new thing that came my way, it was, well, I can't do that because I'm not lovable. I can't talk to this person because I'm not lovable, I'm different, I'm unique, I'm so, all these things. All this bullshit that you walk around with going, oh my God, what do I do? This is just stopping me at every turn. So I had to realize that I couldn't change my life unless I changed my thoughts. I couldn't change my thoughts unless I could change my state. They all work hand in hand. Now, I discovered this sort of by accident, and you'll laugh at me, but I had this older brother. I still have this older brother. He didn't go anywhere, but my older brother, Shannon, he was the first one in my family to try to do something other than be who he wasn't very happy with. He went from being a factory guy to being an entrepreneur to really knocking it dead in the world of network marketing. And he was with a company that rhymes with Amway. So he would always bring me these books and tapes. And, he said, Tommy, you got to try something. You got to look at this. You got to listen to this. So he was very insistent, and he shoved the tape under my nose. And it really talked about how you won't get anywhere in your life unless you do something different. That was the message they hammered. I didn't learn that in school. I didn't learn that really anywhere else but this silly-ass Amway cassette. And I wore that cassette out. I just dove headfirst into these things, learning about, well, heck, if Joe Everyman can change himself, well, I'm a Joe Everyman. Maybe I can change myself too. So for a long time, it was a feel-good exercise. I just used it. I tried so hard to assimilate it and learn and be and do. And I actually, that's one of the motivations that I have for making these videos. Those old-timey cassettes, they literally saved my life. So hopefully somebody latches onto these and can have a similar story to tell. That's one of the things that I love about doing this. But anyway, for the longest time, I had no way to correlate what I was learning on these tapes with anything going on in my life. I was working in a factory. Okay, well, how can I be an entrepreneur while I'm working in a factory? Well, you know how you do that? You look at, I operate my own little factory cell as my own little business. I'm the captain of my little industry here. So maybe if I came in with a better attitude and a happy attitude, and I strove to exhibit good qualities that I was learning while I was in this situation, maybe things would be better for me. And you know what? It worked. I started getting promotions. I started being able to bid on better job classifications because of success I had with what I was doing. I began where I was standing. These circumstances, it's the circle that you stand in. So I started there. Lo and behold, I was introduced to the wonderful world of being a recruiter by this very same brother who was giving me Amway tapes. He was a recruiter. He went out on his own. My shop was about a mile down the road from where he was living at the time. I'd have lunch with him. We would hang out, and I would watch him be on the phones. And that looked really fun. And he said, would you like to try to be a recruiter? And I said, sure, let's learn to be a recruiter. So I came in the very next day, and he made me some coffee, set me up with a little desk and a telephone. The internet was not even invented. So this was all pre-internet. So I learned how to source he needed particular salespeople near certain airports up and down the eastern seaboard that worked out of these specific companies. He said, find me names. I place one of these people, you get a cut. Well, guess what? This is how I broke my fear of getting on the phone. I said, I am too broke to not pick up this phone. I dislike my job so much, I've got to pick up this phone and change my world. And that's exactly what I did. And slowly, and I will tell you that I started picking up the phone and doing these things from a state of, I'm a rebel, I'm different, I'm not lovable. It didn't happen right away. I had a very hard time connecting with people at first because I didn't know how to ask good questions. I didn't know how to do a lot of things. But I will tell you, anything worth doing is worth doing badly until you get good at it. So these are the things that, and it turns out that a part of it, I took to, like a duck to water. I was very good at making lists of people to call. And I was just doggedly determined enough to pick up the phone, make those phone calls, and make things happen. So I'm saying all this to say that I want you guys to understand me, that I come from a world of where maybe I wasn't bred for success. My father is a great man. He's in assisted living now, but he's a great, wonderful man, but he did not teach me how to be a success. What he gave me was a work ethic. And I'm guessing that your parents gave you a work ethic as well. You know how to get up, grind it out, pound it out, and do that. But you're frustrated because you can't get to the next level. You're frustrated because you can't make a dream come true. And you can't separate that dream from that mental chatter. You don't even know that you're allowed to have a dream. How about that? I stumbled through life not even knowing I was allowed to have a dream. So that's what I teach. That's where we're going with all this. All these foundational teachings are basically going to work on how to get you from this state down here, up here, to where you are thriving and not just surviving. So I thank you very much for tuning in today. Tune in next time. Hit the like button. Hit the share button if you got something out of this. Go visit our website, selfactualizedyou.com. And remember, I want you to be blessed. I want you to be self-actualized. Mostly, I want you to be yourself. Thank you so much. I love you, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye-bye.